What is up, guys, and welcome to today's video. This one I am super excited about. We're finally getting some legs in this thing. My car is like the guy at the gym that only trains upper body right now. The upper body is beast mode, and my legs, well, they're toothpicks, the old 10 bolt. So on today's video, we're going to be doing the 9" by Quick Performance install. We are going to get some legs back in this Camaro. So I got to tidy up a few things real quick. We got to get the brake lines fabbed up real quick and some bracketry, and after that we are going to be ready to start the installation process. Now I did already get a jump start, and I got the old 10 bolt removed out of here. I also did have to I had to drop my gas tank and fix my sending unit. I'm glad I got that over with. My gas gauge is reading correctly again. I had no gas gauge there for a while and it was just driving me crazy. But dropping the 10 bolt is pretty easy. I left the rear wheels on just to make it a lot easier to roll it out of the way for now, because I am out of jack stands. So we're gonna get a little bit of prep done on that, and then we're gonna go on the assembly process. So stay tuned, guys. All right, guys, so I got the torque arm bracket mounted up just loosely so I can make sure I have no interference with my brake lines. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna use the stock like T conjunction off of the 3rd gen Camaro. And I went to my local hardware store, Menards, and I went to the fencing department, and I found these little black brackets. They're thick enough I can actually weld on. I just cut one in half. I threw a bolt through it, or through the stock bolt with a nut on the back. And what I'm gonna do is probably end up just welding that on right there and then running my brake lines from there. That way I have, you know, a nice mounting point to put the T junction box to run both brake lines. And then we're gonna figure out a way. I bought a couple more of these that maybe I can put a bracket somewhere over here holding the stock flexible brake line that runs to the caliper. And then I think that should do it. So let's just start with the first junction box, and we're gonna go from there. All right, guys, so I think I'm liking this spot right here. I'm gonna go ahead and do some marks to know where to grind. And I hope you can weld on this thing. I don't see why you shouldn't be able to. But I think I'm gonna put it right there. It gives me plenty of room to run it straight down to that caliper. And then I need to figure out if I'm going up around here or if I'm gonna go around the backside. I'm not 100% sure on that yet, guys. So we're kind of working this out as we go. But I'm gonna grind this off, do some welding, tack welds, and see how everything looks, and we're gonna go from there. All right, so we're just gonna grind off a little bit right here so we can have a good clean weld. All right, guys, so we're gonna weld this bracket on, get it tacked into place real quick. I think that looks good. I think we're gonna go ahead and just burn it on real quick. Okay, guys, that looks pretty good. I think that's gonna hold. I did throw another little bit bead right up underneath it. The thing is super sturdy. I'm just gonna paint it black and put it back, and then we're gonna move forward. Okay, guys, we're just gonna do a little paint. All right, guys, so that worked out pretty good. That feels nice and strong. I don't think that's gonna break. And this will hook into the 3rd gen factory spot and have the be able to let the rear end articulate and not break the line or anything like that. So now we got to find out how to get the brake lines running, one to over here, and then the other one, I'm not sure if I'm going through here or behind here, and we're gonna run it down over to that caliper. So let's go ahead and start with the easy side first, and then we'll know what to do. All right guys, so basically what I'm trying to do is just fab up another little bracket. And man, let me tell you, these brackets are gonna work flawlessly. So basically I'm just gonna make a round hole to put this through enough so we can put the C-clip in there that holds this in place, and then this will wrap around and bolt to the caliper. So we're gonna fab up this real quick, see what we can do. All right, that'll work. See how it's sticking out just far enough to get that C-clip on? That's exactly what I need. And then we're gonna get that welded to the housing to have a nice anchor to hold this and wrap that around. All right guys, so basically this is the finished product that we ended up with. And all I did is I've been cutting these little fence brackets down that are just working perfectly. So we're gonna take this and basically, here's the brake line. It's gonna go through there and be held down. And we're gonna run it to about right there. We're gonna weld it on to about right there, just like that. All right guys, so that looks good right here. I think we're gonna go ahead and get it burned in. Oh. So far, it's looking like it's gonna work just fine. It's gonna run it about just like that. Okay guys, so basically what I did is the same exact thing on the other side. Got it welded on, holds the rubber brake line perfect. Unfortunately, I can't really move forward until I get the banjo bolts, so I'm gonna pick those up tomorrow after work. So it's getting a little late tonight, but luckily for you guys, it's only gonna take a few seconds. So basically we got both brackets, we got our T-bolt installed, and now we're just gonna run our hard lines, and then we are ready to drop this thing in. Unfortunately, the new calipers did not come with banjo bolts. They missed it in shipping. Man, what a bummer. But we are making progress, and this thing is coming out pretty nice. This is the fun part, guys. Fabbing up, making stuff work. I enjoy this stuff. Hope you guys enjoy watching it. All right guys, so it's the next day. I did get a new banjo bolt to work with this. We're gonna go ahead and get these lines mounted so we can run the hard lines, and then we are ready to install this thing. So we're gonna go ahead and get that done. And one thing too that I've learned on these banjo bolts, it is extremely important to get the right torque. When I did the C5 conversion up front, man, I could not get those things to quit leaking no matter what until I actually did torque them down to 37 foot-pounds. It seems like a heck of a lot for a brake caliper banjo bolt, and the back ones are torqued down to 33 foot-pounds. It feels like a lot, but if you don't do it, they will probably leak. That is the issue I ran into in the front. So we're gonna torque these down to 33 foot-pounds, and then we can go ahead and get them mounted. Oh, it feels like it's just about to break, and then that's good. All right guys, so this is just a basic 5/16 copper line. I think I'm gonna have to trim this one. This is actually a 2-foot section. I got a 2 and a 3 foot section, so I do have a flaring tool. So I'm gonna have to cut it to the size I need it to make it look clean. So we're just gonna go ahead and see exactly where I need to trim it at. I did get the copper lines because they're so much easier to mess with and bend. So we're gonna put that one in there just like that. Basically, we're gonna try to run it along that and just to about right there. All right, we're gonna take that over there, cut it, and then we're gonna flare it, and that should be good. All right, guys, so I got my line and I've got my little mark right there. So we're gonna go ahead and run, we're gonna cut it right where I have my mark at. All right, guys, this is the one I'm using. It has come in handy quite a few times. So we're gonna get this to go ahead, and we've got our piece cut down to size now. Don't forget to put your end on. We're gonna flare this out and we should be good to go. All right, guys, so basically these are pretty simple to use. This is the stop right here, and what I'm gonna do is run the line in, and don't forget to put your line on, and that will bottom it out. And then you're gonna tighten down these 2 screws with the 10mm. Where's it at? Oh, there it is. Crank these down a little bit. And you can see there's a little sight glass right there. It shows that the line is bottomed out all the way. So I got these cranked down. This is the bottoming out tool, and then you just take this tool off. And then there's 2 options on this thing. There is an option 1, and then option 2 would be this side, and that is for inverted flares, but we need option 1 to make the bubble flare. So we're gonna put just a little bit of grease on that. Now I've never actually made a bubble flare with this, but I think you just use option 1 and then that will work. We're gonna see. All right, that just bottomed out. All right, let's see what that looks like now. All right, that should be good. Let's see if it did work. And there we have it. A nice bubble flare. That worked out pretty darn good. All right, we're gonna go get this put on. I won't bore you with all the lines, but that is basically the idea, what we're going for, to cut them to the perfect length that we need. And we're gonna go back and finish the rest. All right, guys, so we just got done fabbing up the brake lines. Very happy with how well everything turned out. These are the brackets we fabbed up. I'm still running the stock 3rd gen T line, so that's gonna hook directly to the car. What I did is decided to run the back line around the back, so if I ever do gear changes, and plus with the torque arm and all that stuff, I feel like it would be way easier that way. And that is ran over to this side. Man, what I did, I took a little bit of some vacuum line, and all the areas where it could possibly rub, I taped on, or I zip tied it on the vacuum line, and that way nothing can rub through. We don't got to worry about losing brakes or anything like that. Just some good preventative maintenance. We are finally gonna get this thing installed in here, and I am telling you, I was really worried about how I'm gonna put this thing in the back of the car by myself. And these jacks, these moving dollies with the jack stands and the ratchet straps, that idea has been working flawlessly. Very happy I came up with that. So let's go ahead and get busy. We're gonna get this thing into this. Let's see what we can do. Alright guys, it is basically in. We're gonna go ahead and get the leaf spring or the coil springs back in. I'm gonna get the UMI adjustable torque arm in, and we're gonna go ahead and get our pinion angles set. Make sure all the lines and everything are gonna be mocked up good. Tighten everything down, and we're gonna check it out. So let's see what we can do. All right guys, so we basically got most of it buttoned up. Right now we're just gonna center the rear end in the back of the car. And the best way I'm doing it, or I can think of right now, is I just took a lug nut and I tied it on a piece of string and kept it centered with the axle. And then we're just gonna get a quick measurement from both sides. I've got it pretty close. Right now I've got it pretty dang close. And then this is just to kind of get it into the rough position. And then you're gonna wanna also, when you get the wheels and tires back on, you're going to want to take another measurement, because when you do put it under its own suspension, its own load, it is gonna change. Okay, so now that we got our rear end centered in the air, like I said, once you put it back on, once you get the wheels back on, you got to put it on its own suspension weight. I'll put it back on the wood blocks, and I'll do another measurement to make sure I'm centered, so I'll make the necessary adjustments. But I'm a little bummed out. I did have to put the old sway bar back on and the old like the upper panhard bar. I am going to upgrade that in the future, but I made a deal with myself. Since I spent so much money on this rear end, I'm going to chill just for a little bit until I can recoup some funds. So I'm putting the old stuff back on right now. I'm also got to find a way to get the UMI adjustable torque arm. I'm having a little bit of fitment issues, so now that I got it centered, I'm going to go ahead and see what it looks like when I get it up there. If not, I'm going to have to cut and refab the bracket on the UMI torque arm. If that's the case, I might just do another time. I'm running out of time here. I might just run the stock arm until this big show's coming up, Street Machine Nationals. Once I get, you know, everything dialed in and tested, I might come back and try to make that work. So we're gonna see what we can figure out. Okay guys, after a lot of struggle and having to do a little bit of massaging on the tunnel, as well as cutting a few V-notches for the bolt to go through, and trimming off part of the UMI adjustable torque arm bracket, I had to trim off. There's actually two set of holes on here, if you can see. I don't know why they make these things so beefy, but in order to get it to work, I actually did have to trim off probably 1/4 of an inch. That way I could use the inside bolts, the inside bolt holes. But I think we're gonna make it work. I got everything mocked up, and I had to clearance the tunnel, massage the tunnel just a little bit, as well as in the back. And I also had to cut a little notch out of the torque arm. When I get everything assembled, I'll show you guys. But man, what a pain in the butt to get an adjustable torque arm, beefy one, to work with the 9-inch in these things, at least with the quick performance one, with their mounts. So I'm going to show you guys the finished product when it's all done, but man, what a pain in the butt. Okay guys, I got the suspension back on the weight. I did get my rear end centered. Everything looks good. I got everything torqued down, and I'll show you guys exactly what I did on the UMI torque arm right here. Okay guys, to get the UMI adjustable torque arm to mount and bracket to work, is I told you before I had to trim off just a little bit of the bracket on the inside, probably about 1/4 of an inch. Up here I also had to cut a little notch, little V-notch, so the bolt would fit right here, since I did move the whole bracket inward a little bit by cutting that and using the inside holes on the bracket. Everything fits good, and I did have to clearance the tunnel just a little bit, and also just a little bit up front. Everything is looking pretty darn good now though. I've got plenty of room. Let me see if I can switch over to this side. Okay, so we've got plenty of room now. And we're gonna be able to make this work. So there we are, we got the 9-inch installed. I did have to get I did have to get a different drive shaft made up, guys. I was hoping to get away with the stock one with conversion joints, but it did not work out. So what I decided to go with was the chromoly 3-inch steel. We actually have the 1350 U-joints up front, and then I'm gonna have the 1330 big end on the Ford on the back. That way I don't have to worry about any problems. I really wanted to go with the aluminum, but when you're making this kind of power with a 6-speed manual and doing clutch dumps, I just did not want to risk breaking the drive shaft and having it rip everything up, as well as probably break the transmission. So next time you guys see this car, it's going to be on the street. We're going to be laying 2 big strips of rubber, so stay tuned. Don't forget to like this video, guys, sub to the channel, leave a comment, let me know what you guys think, let me know what you guys are building. I appreciate all the support. Thanks for watching. Peace.